What is up, YouTube? And today we're talking about the 7th anniversary celebration party event. Now this event is for the second half of the 7th anniversary for Epic 7, and basically it's an event that we all participate together, and we have to do missions to get sugar. By doing sugar missions, we'll get a ton of rewards, and basically at the end of it, it will, take everyone's sugar that they've accumulated for the whole player base and then give us points. And if we reach certain milestones, we will be able to unlock certain rewards. So you can see I just claimed the reward from Crow here. It was 200 mystic medals, but you can see that's what we already claimed. And as you go up the ladder, you'll be able to claim even more mystic medals. And at the very end, you'll see that the best reward is going to be the boss selector with the unknown slate to memory imprint. So basically, I'm sure Smilegate's going to pull strings, so we all get this. There's just no way that they say that we have a chance to get this. If we don't meet the sugar requirements, they don't give it to us. You might see the bar fill up at the end of the event very quickly, but basically, we're just going to be talking about which of the 5 Moonlight boss heroes you want to choose. It is a selector, so you get to choose what you want. You can only choose out of the 5 boss ML5 stars between Zio, Strays, Bellion, Archdemon Shadow, and also Harsetti. So we're going to talk about which one of the 5 that you actually want to go for and kind of just rank them for you guys. So the number 1 pick, in my opinion, if you don't have him on your account, is going to be Zio. So Zio kind of fell out of the meta for a little bit, then came back into the meta. He's always been very good since his release, and honestly, at some points he was like by far, in my opinion, the best opener in the game. And the reason is because you're going to see at the start of the first battle, he gets a 20% combat readiness push. What does this actually mean? Basically, you're going to outspeed pretty much everything in the game. And the reason he's so strong is because you can build him in cleave, you can build him in like a control setup, and even in standard you can use him just as an opener because he is super tanky with his buff that he gives himself. You can see he gets 50% damage reduction with Deify. He also can silence and dispel and push back combat readiness, which makes him a very good speed contester. You can disrupt cleave all by yourself. And he also just does a crap ton of damage. It's literally an insane amount of damage because you're going to see that you only need him on 50% crit. And also you're going to see the fact that his S1 has 2 hits on it, and the second hit will penetrate defense. He also gets an attack buff for himself, which makes him very self-sustainable, and he just does a lot of damage. There's a lot of different builds you can actually use for him, and he's pretty much a future-proof unit. He came out like, 4 years ago? He's been like top tier ever since, and it's always going to be the fact that his passive just gives him a speed boost basically at the start of battle. So if you start him with like 270 speed, he's essentially going to be plus 54 at 324. So that's pretty much how it works. Makes him very good, very easy to build if you're trying to speed contest. So especially if you're newer to the game as well, this is a character that you pretty much need on your account to actually compete with those older players that actually have, the faster speed gear on their openers for cleave setups. Now, the second character I recommend is Harsetti. So this is going to be number 2 on the list. Basically, she's an amazing character because she works similarly to Zio, but not exactly. You're going to see at the start of battle, the speed of the caster is fixed, and basically everyone is going to be limited to a maximum of 90% of Harsetti's speed. So similar to Zio, she's pretty much guaranteed to take the first turn, and it makes it so that she can, outspeed characters with lower speed requirements. Now, her S3 is super powerful, right? You can dispel buffs, you can put unable to counterattack, you can put unbuffable, you can penetrate defense, does a lot of damage, and then her S1 has defense break and a lot of stuff like that. It's really oppressive debuff-wise, and on her release, she was probably the most broken character, but nowadays, Smilegate has been actually releasing units to counter her over and over, so she's a lot more easy to deal with, but still a very annoying character. And the biggest upside to her is her passive, right? Similar to Zio, if you're newer to the game and you're struggling to speed contest, Harsetti is also a very good character. I still think Zio's better because he's a lot more flexible in the team comps you can play him with. Harsetti kinda needs to be played with stuff like New Kid Aiden, Afternoon Soak Flan, and stuff like that. So because of that, she's a lot less flexible in the team comps you play her with. While Zio is very flexible, but she's still extremely powerful. And although she's fallen out of the meta a little bit more while still being meta, so I guess she's fallen a few tiers down is what I'm trying to say, still a very good character that you can go for. So number 3 on the list, we have Strays. This is one of my favorite characters in the game to use. This guy is a beast. When he first came out, he was like giga broken, then he wasn't used as much and only for cleave. But he's really good in Guild Wars offense, and he's also good if you're trying to just cleave and do fast arena, auto runs. He has this AoE attack, which makes him invincible and penetrates defense, cannot get countered, which is great. He also has this strong S2, which will hit very hard, and it will also dispel buffs and ignore effect resist of targets with lower attack. Pretty much going to be every character will have lower attack than Strays when you build him correctly, and you're cleaving, like, tank your teams. So he can strip off very annoying buffs, and his S1 just gives him a CR push, which isn't anything crazy. Now the biggest thing is it's going to be his exclusive equipment. You're going to see it gives him crit chance, which makes him a lot easier to build, and when you actually kill someone with your S3, you get an extra turn, and you get 2 turns of immunity. Not immunity, invincibility. So basically it makes it so that you can S3 and then S2 right after. And then if you have a Ram on your team, she can just push you up again and reset your S3, and then you do it again. So just a super broken cleaver because of this. I wouldn't say he's a must-have, but for like speedrunning hunts, he's very good. He's one-shot hunt comps for like everything he's used in. And also just for, like I said, Guild Wars offense, arena offense, cleaving. He's just like a really good character, and honestly like one of the best cleavers in the game if you can make him work with the perfect setup. So definitely a good character, very cool looking. His animation is sick as well, so you can never really go wrong with Strays if you have, the speed to contest already. So number 4, we have Bellion. So she's actually taken a large hit. It's pretty funny because, you would think she'd always be like top tier or like OP tier with her passive that pretty much counters soul burning, which is like a huge part of the game. She has like a lot of AoE damage. She has provokes. She also has a defense buff for herself, which makes her tankier with the provoke. She can dispel. She does a lot of AoE. She has really annoying debuffs. The only thing is you really need a specific artifact to make her work. The other characters you can make work on like a different amount of artifacts, but this character Bellion, you need 3F to work, and that's because since she's all AoE, you're basically proccing this and doing exponential amount of damage with this build. You can run her on like a crit damage dealer build. The thing is, if you do that, she suffers a lot versus Cleave, and because Cleave is making a comeback, you don't really want to build her on that build. And for that reason, if you build her on full tank, right, and you don't have her on this artifact, she hits like a paper towel, and they can just bring Rowana into you, and you'll be healing them more than you actually do damage. So without 3F, it's hard to use her. If you have 3F on her, I'd say that she's maybe like the 2nd or 3rd best character, maybe. But even then, she's not used as much anymore, but still a top tier character on your account if you have 3F available. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend her unless you have all the other 3 that I listed above. And if you have 3F, then yeah, she's going to be a lot better. But if you don't have 3F, I've said this already like twice, she's just not that good because she gets countered by a lot of stuff in the meta, and even like, units that aren't in the meta. So they can just bring it out as a pocket pick and you'll get screwed over. So yeah, that's what I think about Bellion. I think she's at number 4 comfortably. Now let's look at the number 5 unit. So at number 5, we have ADS. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're sleeping on her. She's really good, especially with her new exclusive equipment. And I think you can definitely make her work. But for newer players, she is, 1, she's PvP only. And 2, she is very niche. You have to pick her like as a counter pick against like low damage teams. And also she's very hard to build. She wants like every single stat pretty much, which makes her pretty hard to build, but she's really good if you can make her work. She has that defense break, she has that burn, she can seal characters, which is very, very strong, that can, stop their passive, and she also has this damage reduction. So yeah, a lot of good things in her kit, but she's pretty hard to build because you can see she would want effectiveness, she wants attack, she wants to be bulky and stuff like that. So and in terms of how niche she is, yeah, like I said, you want to pick her into lower damage comps because you really want her to, like, she doesn't have ramp up, but she's better in slower fights because she can spread her seal and just do a lot, right? So for that reason, I can't really recommend her. I actually like using her in PvP a lot, especially in RTA, but I can see why people don't really think that highly of her because she's hard to pick, and she's also going to have some like hard gear requirements. So yeah, big fan of her, but unfortunately I have to put her at number 5. And yeah, that's going to round out the boss selector tier list. Now, even though it's not available now, it will be eventually available once we fill up the sugar bar. Like I said, Smilegate always, fills it up even if we're not close at the end because, it's not going to look good if you don't get the rewards that they teased, like I mentioned. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below which boss you're going for. And of course, if you are just missing one, you will always want to go for that one because dupes in this game don't matter as much like other games. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.